Riddle School was a famous Newgrounds game. It's an incredibly violent and edgy Newgrounds game that I can't show for multiple reasons. But lucky me, that's not what we're talking about today. Today we are talking about a possibly more questionable series, Riddle School. Now, before you complain, I believe in the idea of separating art from the artist, and we'll get into Jonachrome, the creator, later. This video is mostly focusing on the games themselves and their legacy, not his, really. First Riddle School series started with, of course, Riddle School 1. The game was made in 3 weeks as said in the fun facts section of the game. The original plan had been involving Crinkle's Madness characters who are these, I guess? I don't know, I never really had access to Newgrounds as a kid, so I didn't play all the good ones. But it was also based gameplay-wise on Riddle School, which, again, I can't really show. The game was released in 2006 and had you playing as our stoic, bald protagonist, Phil Eggtree, who got sent into a special class for making fun of another student. To get out of this class, he just has to make the excuse to sharpen his pencil, then make his daring escape. There's also his classmates, but we'll get into them in the next game when they become, slightly more important. Anyway, you go through the halls getting past one of the hall monitors with a borrowed hall pass, some money to buy a cookie, and your own wits. Basically, you just do some basic puzzles and snoop around to get enough money to throw at Chubbs so he can get himself a cookie. That's actually his name, by the way, Chubbs Munch. Anyway, you give him the money and he'll roll over to allow you entrance into the principal's office, where you can swipe the keys and scram. That's it. That's Riddle School 1. And it will set the staple formula for Riddle School games of being pretty short. Like in a 15-minute playthrough, you can get it done. It was a pretty fun game and definitely popular at the time it came out. I remember popular YouTubers like DanTDM and Markiplier covering these games. To say that it had an impact might be a bit of an understatement, as this was one of Jonachrome's biggest series. A combination of its simple art style and random humor like breadcrumbs and beaver spit made it so good. The game was highly praised, getting millions of plays and a 4.62 out of 5 on Newgrounds' rating system, just showing how popular the game truly was. It was a small enough flash game to run on most any device, and was most importantly, free. The game would gather a cult following of people wondering, will there be another game like Riddle School? Well, the answer is yes, and there's 7 more of these. Riddle School 2 came out only months after Riddle School 1, and it was even bigger, sort of. It was a larger game by megabyte scale, and there was more ground to cover, but you could beat it in the same amount of time. Anyway, I did promise to expand more about this game. The characters who we're going to want to know are the ever-frozen Zach, ever-bored Fred, spelled P-H-R-E-D, and the ever-smiling, Smiley. These characters don't really gain a personality until later games, but they're still important. Zach has a genetic condition that has him constantly freezing and shivering, and if he sneezes, he freezes into a block of ice. It's said that he once put out a lunchroom fire entirely by himself with how cold he was. Fred is unmotivated, unemotional, and bored of school. He never really aspires to anything or wants to do anything. His importance in this game is just selling Phil a whistle, and that's about it for now. Smiley's a bit more of an important character, as she's the only female student, but still bald like all the other children. Smiley was the one that Phil had made fun of in the first game to be stuck in the class. She's permanently smiling until 3 points in the series, where she isn't. And she loves to learn. She's always paying attention in classes, which makes Phil think she's weird. In this game, the player is no longer in Riddle Elementary School, but instead Riddle Middle School. They're in band class with the gang as Phil wants to be free. So, like any normal person, he exchanges $1 for a whistle and blows out everybody's eardrums and just straight up kills Zach by turning him into an ice sculpture. That'll be a bit more relevant later. As you're outside, you go to a sleeping teacher's room and get some trombone oil and a bit of money. You find a rusted vent and use that trombone oil to unstick it so you can get some toilet paper, because we all know the only place you can store toilet paper without it getting stolen by possessed monkey dolls is a rusted vent. Anyway, you throw the TP over to a poor soul in the men's bathroom and take the mop they had in there. Give that mop to the janitor, and then you have enough money to buy a cookie. Only problem is that the cookie machine is broken. Or is it? It's just unplugged. That's it. Plug it back in, buy a cookie, throw it at Chubbs again. So he gets out of the way, and then you steal the counselor's key. Then you're home free. This game was pretty well received as it garnered more YouTube popularity. Thanks again to YouTubers like Markiplier, who made videos every time another game in the series dropped. This game keeps a similar art style, with the main characters being slightly older, like in middle school, with the same dumb humor as last time. Another interesting thing is that the developer mentions in the special credits that adults were the only characters to have hair and children were bald to differentiate them. That's why people at the time still thought that Smiley was a guy. Honestly, kind of funny. Anyway, the next installment was Riddle School 3. Came out in 2008 and garnered 2.7 million plays on Newgrounds, and 4.72 out of 5 on Newgrounds, showing that it still definitely had a following. In this game, Phil and his friends are in high school. To escape the teacher, you need to get clever. There's a ruler on your desk and some gum on the globe that you need to grab and put together in order to get a rubber band that's an event. You slingshot that at your teacher's face and his glasses fall off. Take those and scatter. You do a series of tasks like giving the librarian the glasses you nicked from the first teacher, using a keycap to start a button-making machine, and using a kid's key code upside down to get into his locker. By the way, you should have enough money to buy a pudding cup from the lunch lady, Mrs. Munch, who is the mom of Chubbs Munch, funny enough. You throw the pan at him, and then Phil has to Indiana Jones his way out of Chubbs' way, and it doesn't go well. You sneak into the principal's office and nick his key. One of my favorite parts of the game is the ending, which doesn't matter the first time, but if you beat the game the second time, well, let's just say you won't be happy. It's a good puzzle game. I really enjoyed my playthrough, but there really wasn't a hint or slight nod that the paper for the locker is supposed to be an upside down code. Other than that, I like the puzzles and dumb humor. I enjoy dumb humor. The next game, though, is just dumb. Now, I understand it's important and it was kind of an April Fool's joke, but it's just not fun. Riddle School 4 was a prank to those who begged for a fourth Riddle School game. You're Phil Egtree in college, and there's a fucking alien behind you in class. Yeah, there's an alien behind you. Okay, sure. Anyway, most of our friends are in here with a Mr. Munch. You think there's any relation? Anyway, if you press the screen at all, Mr. Munch presses a button on his desk and literally sends you to hell. Okay, well, more accurately, sends you to an underwater volcano. Game end. Yep, that's it. And while this game is important and not just a joke, I mean, come on, man. The game is probably the least fun and least replayable. Next is Riddle School 5, which I thought would be the finale. Apparently not. So, quick fact before we get into Riddle School 5, I played all of these games through a Game Jolt collection, which of course will be linked below. And I never downloaded the last 2 games in the series, which I don't know why. I don't even think they were on there. Well, maybe at the time, but I checked and I'm just dumb. I did see them. So I had to go to the Game Jolt page and re-download them. A little weird, but also annoyingly, the last 2 games in the series are under a completely different name, kind of, so whatever. Riddle School 5 starts with a transmission of dialogue between 3 sources: Viz in red, Diz in green, and Quiz in blue. Anyway, they talk about how they're going to destroy Earth and use Zack, the cold guy from earlier, as a super weapon to freeze Earth. And then Phil wakes up after hearing that transmission. Per Riddle School usual, you have to find your way through the areas solving problems with what you find. And the game introduced the worst puzzle. The stupid square puzzle where you have a 4x4 grid of red squares. And every time you press it, you make a cross pattern, which you have to make numbers to get through. To be fair, it keeps your progress and you don't have to do it in order. But they were the worst puzzles in the game. Anyway, you turn a steak and some dirt into a living creature to get past a security animal thing and enter your friend's dreams to kill them. Yeah, basically before this, you went into your friends' rooms and all of them have force fields around them that you can't get through while they're dreaming. You basically have to get into them and find a way to kill them all. The funny thing is that each death is based on a different Riddle School game. For Zack, you have to use the whistle from the second game to freeze Zack and push him over to have him smash into ice cubes. Smiley, you have to trick into helping the teacher whose glasses fell off and then push her head into the sharp top of the globe, which just looks awful. Then, for Fred, you just have to trick him into sitting your seat in college and have him drop into lava. After saving all your friends in their dreams, you send them to the escape pods, which then immediately get abducted by Viz, the alien that spoke in red. This guy is just an asshole Ben 10 forearms ripoff. He's just forearms but skinny and bent on destroying Earth. You also get to meet Viz, the green text alien who you saw behind you in college making sure you died in your dreams so you could save Earth. Yeah, it gets complex. Viz kicks Diz into a locked room and then dips to his own ship to watch as Zach's genes get used to deep freeze the Earth. You have to solve some puzzles like unscrewing parts of a sink to get the handle and putting some passwords into machines. The worst one is the stupid fucking square puzzle. It's there again with the same code. Anyway, you get onto the ceiling and press a button, break mug, fix mug, put lava in it, burn a cupboard, burn a board, close the lava pit. Yeah, did I mention there's a lava pit your friends are dangling over to watch their home get destroyed? Well, you close the lava pit and readjust the laser to Viz's ship, freeze him, and have him crash to a meteor. Then Diz comes back like, hey, I found a universal remote. Oh, by the way, I can drive you back home. And happily ever after. Until the next 2 games. Now, I gloss over a lot of the story as I'm not that crazily interested in making a breakdown of story events and what happened when, where, and why, and what it led to. Only real story you need is that during the Alien Discord chat, Viz mentioned stuff about Project Vizion, which is just a project to destroy and conquer planets, and Phil kind of failed at preventing it by escaping elementary school. Yeah, it's weird, and it only gets weirder. This is probably one of the more fun games if you're really into logic puzzles and figuring out brain teasers. I'm not that guy. But most of the game is fun. Just not the square puzzle. Oh, and don't worry, they will appear more. This game was pretty popular, especially coming out right after the heavily anticipated Riddle School 4, which was a disappointment to players, wondering if they'll have to wait another year to get something that's actually a game and not just a 0.2 second teaser, basically. Next is the Riddle Transfer series. This gets crazy fast. So, I'm just going to take a quick break. How are you doing today? If you enjoyed the video, then stick around for more stuff I might make. I swear I'm going to upgrade my computer at some point. Anyway, drink some water. Dehydration is too common a cause for headaches. Now, let's get back to the Riddle Transfer series. Riddle Transfer was released in 2011, and it starts right after Riddle School 5 left off. Also, forgot to mention, but Zach is now kind of permanently on fire. That'll be important later. But yeah, he kind of reverted his frozen powers after the laser thing, and he just kind of became a human torch now. Okay. The game starts with a cutscene of the ship where we're getting caught in a tractor beam. The ship falls into Zone 5.1, a completely original military labeling idea which has multiple federal agents coming out to give us the average American welcome of handcuffing all of us and literally putting Zach in a cage. Thus, we start Riddle Transfer. Phil wakes up in a room with a padlock and a glass door and tries to figure out how he can escape. Funny enough, there's a mirror that just shows us our code, and we use a toilet lever to type the code in on the keypad. After leaving our room, we can check out the other 2 rooms on our floor, one containing a goat man and an animal translator. The next room full of empty boxes where you can find the elevator key to change floors. The goat on your floor will also be important later, as he wants you to get him some good grass, like what he used to have in the wild. The next floor you need to go to progress is level 1. For reference, there are 5 floors, and we came from floor 2. Anyway, floor 1 contains Smiley, who now has hair, as well as a can of hairspray. She also memorized her key code perfect, but the door is missing the 3, which is over half the code. Shit. Anyway, you need to ask her for the hairspray she has so you can give it to someone else later. The other room on Smiley's floor has Big Toe, who is a fine gentleman who only wishes for a fancy hat in which he shall trade you a calculator. The next floor you can go on is B1, which has Fred, who has a paper with his code on it, but he's missing the entire keypad, so you can't help him yet. But who you can help is Yeti, or the negotiable snowman, as his chamber says. He's a completely bald Yeti who wants his fur back. Luckily, we have some hairspray, so you use that to give him back his luscious locks, in which you get a dice, and you can use the 3 on Smiley's door to get her out. On floor B2, 2 other items you'll need in a bit you can get from the Mock Mess Monster, who is a grumpy sea monster that wears a nice-looking top hat, and they refuse to give it to you. They just want to go back to Mock Mess Lake. However, the two items you get from Messy are very helpful, being a hose and a key card. Fred's floor also has an important room you can now access, being the power room. You can access the pipe system and arrange it to look like this, and drain Messy back to its lake. This makes them very happy and leaves behind their hat so you can take it. I can already hear you thinking, but no, you can't use the hat yet. It's not fancy enough. So now we go to our final floor, F3. F3 has Zach, the fancy cafeteria, and a flying pig in a cage who just wants to be free. All you need to do is use the hose you get and hook it up to the conveniently placed chlorophyll machine that hooks into a pipe into the Goatman's room. Now the Goatman can enjoy his lovely pure grass. I should probably bring up Zach because now we get him. His code is in the form of the riddle. It's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a convoluted way. Anyway, he's tied up on the ceiling and we can't reach him, so we have to make him burn the rope. Coincidentally, he's allergic to daisies, like the one you just grew in the Goatman's room. After grabbing a daisy and freeing Zach, we can take him to the flying pig's room where we can burn the wood and set it free. Luckily, it left behind a couple feathers so we can make a fancy enough hat for Big Toe. So he gives us his calculator and we use it on Fred's door. After that, it's easy. You just go and find the mean door guarding Diz, piss it off, freeze it from the power room, and then do 4 goddamn different puzzles to get Diz out of that weird mind-reading machine he's in. And if anybody has seen the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem movie, just imagine the scene with that machine. You'll know what I mean. So, grabbing Diz, we rush to the ship, but the alarm sounds, and Diz, being about 3 feet taller than a bunch of 10-year-olds, is the only one who has the legs long enough to get to the ship in time and fly away, where we now get chased down by more federal agents. That was long. The game was great. My playthrough was about 55 minutes, and I blame the pipe puzzle and the triangle puzzle. Remember when I talked about the square puzzle from Riddle School 5? Well, this is just as annoying, but there's triangles instead. Really pissed me off. The pipe sliding puzzle wasn't actually that egregious. I was just lost and needed a guide for it. Other than that, it's a fun Riddle School game to explore if you want personality in spades and dumb humor. It's a great Riddle School game. Probably one of my favorites. Not sure I can 100% say the same for its sequel, though. Riddle Transfer 2 is the last game uploaded to the developer's Newgrounds page, and it was uploaded in 2016, the year of the beast. The game starts with everybody running from federal agents, yet again. It almost looks as though we have an untaxed firearm, but oh well. They run into a convenient portal room where you have to get all of its systems ready. Also, my favorite part about this section is that if you ask Smiley for any help, what she does is tell you that she doesn't know because Phil always had better grades than her. Which, admittedly, after playing the games for about 3 hours, got a little surprise chuckle out of me. You can use the keycard you get from the last game to turn the first system on, and then a pretty easy sliding puzzle for the next system. The next puzzle is fucking stupid though. So your only clue is a weird ass note saying woof with a weird dog man on it, and you have to put in a 4-digit code for the computer. The code is 4003. Okay, I can understand the 3 and zeros, but how does the 4 come in? I don't get how that's an F, but whatever. Then you just have to do a pretty easy math puzzle to get the coordinates of Riddle Elementary. Also, out of curiosity, I wanted to know where these coordinates were in real life. They're in some random place in Maryland with little significance, but just thought I'd mention it. So, you teleport back to Elementary, and you're back in the first Riddle School map, with a new twist. Aliens, you thought we were done with the Vizian plot? Nope, new aliens just dropped. The new alien is one we've actually heard of before, called Quiz, the third in command of the Vizian project, who has now taken control with Diz and Viz being out of the way. So, Quiz takes over the school and installs turrets. Okay. So no one can move. So, of course, you use Fred's backpack and a lunch bag to make a dummy of yourself to escape to free everyone else. After getting into the hallway, you find a locker and steal a long division book, then steal soap from the bathroom. The next step is solving a Riddle School mystery that has been around since the first game. What is in the girls' bathrooms? Well, we need to brave our way through to find it. It's a fucking cave dwelling with a gumball machine. That's it. So, you steal a gumball, and then you make your way to another classroom with the kid who got stuck in the locker from the third game, even making some reference back to it. Steal some chewed, used gum from there, and make your way to the janitor's closet to steal a bucket. Use the chewed gum to kill the turret in the hallway. That's just there. Now you can find Chubb, who is now more fleshed out, and you can actually hold a conversation with him. The aliens abducted him into place in front of Quiz's door so no one could get in, and Chub can't move without a sugar rush. But what he can help with now is giving you $1 that you can exchange with the locker kid to get a glue stick. Pop the gumball to Chub, and he'll roll out of the way to allow you in. There's a one-eyed alien who needs to regularly take eye drops, and he thinks he's the smartest thing in the room. To get rid of him, you actually just need to do some other stuff first. You need to find coffee grounds in the cafeteria and put water in the janitor's bucket to heat over Zach's head, which is a little uncomfortable. Making Prohibition-style coffee out of that, you make your teacher turn into a damn saw blade, go back to Cyclops, trick him into doing long division so you can steal his eye drops to break open using Mrs. Industrial Fan, put some soap in it, then glue it back together to trick the Cyclops alien into putting soap in his eye, and then you can get to Quiz. Quiz is a very proud alien and wants to rule the Earth, but Phil beats down on him, showing him that he hasn't done anything right, and holds a quiz with Quiz. You ask questions, Quiz makes answers, then you answer them. Questions like, who was second in command? It wasn't Quiz. How does Viz describe Quiz? Useless. How did Quiz know about Diz leaving Phil and his friends left for dead? He saw it. Who owns Zone 5.1? Viz did before, but now Quiz owns it. Phil basically pulls a low-tier god on Quiz, explaining how he isn't the leader and how he isn't competent and he should give up now. Also, he literally makes Quiz cry, which honestly, I felt slightly bad for him, but kinda deserved it. He calls out the destruction in turrets when he has a heart-to-heart with Phil. Right until Diz pops back up into the story and readies the beam again to fire at Earth now, harnessing the power of a fucking comet. Phil decides he has to go with Quiz to stop Diz, but right before they go, Phil addresses Smiley. But before I go, Smiley?
I used to tease you a lot because I didn't understand you.
But now, I realize you're a true role model for me. And you have a beautiful smile. Bullshit ensues! So yeah, after that beautiful moment, we have some bullshit puzzles in the escape pod we flew away in. Also, I looked on YouTube because this was such a beautiful moment in the game. There's gotta be some animation of it VO'd, right? No. That actually made me pretty sad. Closest I could find is an animatic video, which is actually really good. I kinda have a problem with these. It'll be linked down below the Game Jolt links if you're interested in that. I'm gonna need a minute, man. Okay, where were we? Oh, yeah, bullshit ensuing. There's 3 main puzzles and 2 of them are horseshit. One is just annoying. So, the first one is like those stupid square and triangle puzzles, but now even dumber. I don't even want to talk about it. The second one isn't that bad. You just need to align Diz's face into 4 discs. Again, not that bad. The last one is basically a 2D Rubik's Cube of Quiz's face with one side. Annoying, but doable. Then you open a panel using the code EACCA. I genuinely have no clue how you get it. I just followed the guide for the last section. You use the key in the panel and open the weapon system. But there's only one button. A self-destruct system. Quiz says it's the only way to save Earth and stop Diz, so he tells you to get into the escape hatch and leave to your friends. There's only room for one of us. Quiz bravely sacrifices himself and takes Diz out with him. Dying hero. And a true leader. Just like he wanted. Smiley, Fred, and Zach wait where you left them, watching the explosion above them, praying for Phil's safety when they see his pod. Smiley rushes to be at his side and hugs him, happy that he is alive in her arms. And we see Phil, the ever-stoic protagonist, smile to be in her loving arms. Shut up, I'm not crying, you're crying. I loved this game's ending. It gets even better with the credits being a photo album of their future years all together in classes, and Phil and Smiley getting married and growing old together. Oh, I love it! I'm a sucker for that. As of writing the script, I was actually getting emotional. Watching animatics and sad cutscenes at 11 p.m. probably isn't good for my mental health. I'm gonna do it anyway. I'm honestly glad I never played the last 2 games in the series before this. I loved connecting with the characters in these 2 games. Yeah, it's not the best writing ever and not stunning ray trace graphics, but it's a dumb humor puzzle game that really hit me in the feelings at the end. I am a sucker for cheap rom-coms. This is so far the longest script I've written for a video, and I hope you guys enjoyed it and continue to enjoy it. I love making longer videos like these, and I will not guarantee consistency, but I can guarantee they'll probably stick around. Also, I know this is a tonal shift, but now I have to give the obligatory address of art versus artist. Now, I don't give two shits about most dramas, and I sure as hell don't know much about John Chromes, and I'm in no way to talk about it. But I know he's not really favored anymore. But I don't care about that. These are all free games that he has put on services that I have not had to pay for. I see these games differently from John Chrome himself. Right now, I'm only focusing on what he's made, and I'll continue to play the games he's made. One Night at Flumpty's 2 and 3 are games I would like to play in the future. Yeah, I'm shit at FNAF games, but I don't care. Let the games speak for themselves, not the developer. Anyway, sorry about that little random rant at the end. I seriously appreciate all the support I've been getting. As of writing this, I have 88 subscribers, which, oh god, that's a lot. What am I going to do if I get 100? Well, you guys can comment that in the description if you have any ideas. Also, just comment. I like seeing you guys. But sometimes I don't respond just because I'm afraid it's one of those virus stock profile things. Sorry if I don't respond. Well, anyway, seriously, thank you all. See you, and have a nice night.